Synopsis is podcast, the only show that dares to ask the question, is it essential? I am your host, Corbin, and with me today, as always, is Alan.
I kick ass for the Lord.
And
wrong
Bobby.
Movie. It's the wrong movie. It's the
close
wrong
enough.
movie you just did. You
Same
did the
vibe.
wrong movie.
Same vibe.
Same vibe. Same vibe.
Yeah. And Bobby?
Yeah. Wrong movie. I heard you say Bobby, so I just said assumed that I was saying.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we have got an amazing S-tier show for you today, guys. We are going to be kicking off our new franchise with the introduction of the Ghoulies themselves. That's right. We're talking about the 1985 classic, The Ghoulies. But first, Bobby has a spoiler warning.
I do. This will serve as your first, one and only spoiler warning for the masterpiece, Ghoulies. If you do not want this movie spoiled for you, please skip the time code provided in our description or show notes for our essential spoiler-free discussion. I think it is worth mentioning that there are two scenes that an 8-year-old Bobby was both terrified of and an adult Bobby grossly misremembered. Alan.
What scenes are those?
Yeah, we should start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to start there now. Yeah.
We'll get to the synopsis. I want to know this now.
I remember very distinctly the tongue scene being much more gory and there being much more nudity. And I remember also just as distinctly the clown ghoulie like turning into a snake and like crushing the woman. None of those things happen. I'm pretty sure the clown thing happens in Poltergeist. So that's probably where the wire got crossed there.
I like also the memory of there being more nudity. Like
there's any nudity.
There isn't any at all.
Yeah.
Not of any kind.
Yeah. There's zero nudity in this movie, but I remember very distinctly like watching the scene where Dick comes down this. And again, I was a young boy that my mom thought that she had gotten us Gremlins, which was a movie that I had already seen. And I was like, yeah, okay. And so we used to watch it all the time. I used to watch this movie all the time as a kid. And I loved this movie as a kid, as I do as an adult, because it's, again, a masterpiece. That being said, right, I remember this movie being a lot more naughty than it actually is. Yeah.
Well,
See, but
it's like middle school naughty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is like it's not really quite a PG-13, right? This is like kind of like a hard PG almost.
The hard P in the G of that PG.
Because because Gremlins came out a year before this and is rated PG, and that movie has a lot more going on than Ghoulies does, I would say, in the violence department at least.
Absolutely. Doesn't one of the guys in that movie get shot with like a little mini crossbow, or am I confusing that with toy soldiers?
So they get shot with a regular bow in Gremlins 2, but I think they get away with it because Gremlins is all the gore happens to the Gremlins.
Yeah.
And in Ghoulies, like the gore is like people, and that probably matters.
Yeah. I guess.
So anyway,
that
rolling
probably
back,
matters as you listfully look up and decide, like, whatever.
rolling back just a touch.
Yep.
Alan, what is the Ghoulies?
So the Ghoulies,
or just Ghoulies, I should say.
It's just Ghoulies.
There is no
it's not the Ghoulies. Yeah.
There is no the. Ghoulies is a spooky, scary movie about a sorcerer man who wants great power and demands it in the form of these little tiny demon creature things that connect him with Lucifer and whatnot. This sorcerer man is going to sacrifice his son to complete a ritual. And then his loving mother stops him and gets her heart literally ripped out for it. Fast forward 25 or so years into the future, the sorcerer man is dead and the prodigal son has returned, and just like immediately, without missing a beat, is like, black magic, cool as fuck and just goes in on it.
Can you blame him? Can you blame him?
No.
Blame him?
If I was gifted a house and I go into my basement and there's a sorcerer garb and like demonic signs and a continuity error where he draws a triangle that then completes itself in the next frame, I noticed it, absolutely. Yeah, I would
be a million times. Never noticed that continuity.
Oh, I noticed it immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is why we make fun of you and not
That's
me.
fair.
For the weird
I understand. But the long and the short of it, our main character Jonathan, he gets increasingly more
Jonathan?
and more.
Why?
Okay, in terms of bad acting, that might be my favorite bad acting I've ever seen in my life. But he increasingly gets more and more power and gets tricked. He gets duped by the Ghoulies to bring back his father, to take back his power.
In one of the greatest scenes of overacting ever.
God. Oh, with him and the narrator who just shows up to help at the very end, fighting with their minds. Like,
okay, yeah, ugh. I don't want to get into it, but there is one of the greatest scenes, in a movie full of bad and overacting. There is one moment of like absolute brilliance. Is when Jonathan is like, "You killed all of my friends," and the dad's like, "What do you suppose I did?" Like he's just like it's like a complete afterthought. He's like, "Oh, but yeah, I guess I did do that." Like it's very
David
good.
Bowie energy.
It's just like it's unironically amazing. It is unironically amazing when he does that. Everything else in this movie is, it is this movie, but like I'm like, what the fuck? That's great.
Oh yeah.
So I've said it a few times to the boys here that I hate this movie. But there are bits that I did quite enjoy. And honestly, the dad sorcerer, basically when he's on the screen, I'm like, this is fun. I'm enjoying this a lot.
One of my favorite bits is when
just ridiculous.
He gets resurrected.
And they just scream.
They're all just screaming. Everybody's just screaming, and then it cuts to the skeleton coming out of the ground screaming. Yeah. And then the next time you see him, he's like half alive. It's like very funny.
He phases between like necrotic to a human to necrotic to a human like three times in the film.
No, he not starts all the way very dead, and every time he kills he has one of the Ghoulies kill one of his friends. He becomes
you're
more
saying
and more
they're
alive.
Dead now. Before the show, you said they weren't.
They're not fully dead. They're just mostly dead.
Yeah, they're in the liminal space between life and death. And
this is a Princess Bride.
But to answer your question, yes, absolutely. Every single fucking person in the world, if they went downstairs, found occult robes and a fucking trident, and it's like, here's how you summon demons. Yeah, I'm gonna figure it the fuck out.
Well, and the other thing, right, is that like he doesn't know what he's doing. He just is like, okay, well, I guess let's see, because, it's the 80s. And he just reads out of the book, and it works the first time. So, of course, he's immediately in, because he's like, oh, well, I had no idea what I was doing, and it worked. So now I got to figure this out. We're gonna get some stuff done.
I'm dropping out of med school and I'm gonna become a sorcerer. I mean, like, if there was ever a job profession where you have full rights, especially with the immediate success he has, it's like maybe this is a thing for him.
This guy
summons demons on the first attempt.
Yeah, he summons a literal demon
with like no consequence to himself either. He's just like, I just have demons and they serve me and I'm their master. Cool.
Exactly. It went well.
The second time he does it, he summons the demon from Hereditary. Like there's an entire cult the movie's about that thing, and he just summons them when he's a little frog boy.
Yep.
Like, it's amazing.
I did love the Frog Boy. Frog Boy is very good. Very good, very good, very good puppet.
Yeah, wet puppets. You gotta
puppets
love
in general, very good. Yeah. Very good.
So, I have a question about in-universe Ghoulie lore, okay?
Oh, sure.
All right. So he says to them when he brings them in and is speaking to them, I'm your master, but you need to stay hidden. You're free to roam the grounds except for me. So then does that include their sounds?
What do you mean?
So, like, the Ghoulies will be ghouling around while Rebecca is around, and they're making ghoulie sounds, but she just doesn't even know they're there.
So, the idea is they're not actually invisible.
Okay.
Everybody's just oblivious. Or, like, underneath spells, right? So, like...
This is before Rebecca's under a spell.
I never even thought that they were invisible. I thought they were just like hidey boys. Like,
Yeah,
I thought they were just like
I think that's
like
the
hiding behind
that's
like,
the
the tree.
implication. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the little cat gremlin that looks like my dog, just kind of hanging out. Just
So I mean, could Rebecca have heard those sounds? Sure.
He undoubtedly did when the sex magic thing was happening.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just funnier. It's just funnier to have somebody walking around and then having ghoulie sounds.
Yeah. All I'm saying is this movie a perfect representation of Lovecraftian horror? Yes, that is exactly what I am saying.
A perfect representation.
Yeah, think about it.
But I could imagine. I could imagine a ghoulie.
Yes.
Ghoulie is not an unimaginable horror.
But okay, wait. Pause. Could you imagine a ghoulie before you saw the movie Ghoulies?
Yes, because he'd seen Gremlins.
No. You could not imagine Frog Boy popping out of that turlet until you saw Frog Boy popping out of that Payman, I think it is, or maybe it's Astaroth. No, I think Astaroth is the cat one.
I love that they all have like real, very legitimate demon names, by the way, and they're just ghoulies.
What's the rat one's name? It's like
Rotma. Hail.
You're the ghoulie expert.
I know. I should know it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I blew it.
I'm supposed to ask you what the ghoulie names are.
This is correct.
Don't worry. I'm gonna live check here.
All right. Good.
Name.
So while we're waiting for Bobby to check the names of the ghoulies.
Okay.
There was one part of this movie where, the B movie nature of it all really just tipped all the way over the ledge for me. And it was maybe 25 minutes in or so when all of a sudden, out of the blue, the movie is narrated.
Oh my God.
And not frequently, but just occasionally, like 3 times across the whole film, there's narration.
The devil had him now.
And it's just just go all the way. Put the guy on the screen, fourth wall, just talk to us.
What they just in the foreground, just like
absolutely on the set with like just exactly there. That's how it feels anyway. It is so funny. It's very silly, and that like kicks it. It changes like the whole movie for me from being like an 80s B movie to being like a 50s B movie made in the 80s. Like the vibe changes completely.
Well, it's because they forgot that like or this movie used to have more of that guy in it, and then they cut it. Like a bunch of his scenes got cut out. They're like, but he's the ex machina at the end of the movie. People have to remember that he's part of this movie. They're like,
wait, guys, he's only in 2 scenes.
Yeah, he's in the very beginning and at the very end, and then we decide to add one little thing of him being like, "Oh God, it's happening." How are we supposed to know that he's also a wizard?
That's true.
Yeah. And the fact that he's wizard ex machina is so good. It's amazing.
Great. You never would suspect the groundskeeper. You would never.
No.
How could you?
The only father figure Jonathan ever had.
Doesn't say a word to Rebecca. Doesn't even. He just looks at her.
He introduces her to him as just the groundskeeper or whatever. Yeah. Like they've been together for a while. Like, shouldn't she know him already? First of all,
I swear to God, this definitely had different things. This movie was definitely like 3 different movies at one point, and they eventually settled on the one that they got. Like it's amazing. It's amazing because of it.
I am finding it funnier in this discussion than watching it by myself. Yeah. So that's good at least.
You're unlocking the secret of the ghoulie.
Yeah. Yeah, you're discovering great power and knowledge.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's the whole message.
So initially I watched this for 33 Days of Horror in 2021. So it was a while ago. Yeah. And to break the wall, I gave it a 0.5 point out of 5. We're not even close. We're not close to scores yet. We'll get to that later. But just to level set where I was at coming into watching this film for the second time. And even on the second watch, like I finished it, and I still was just like, God, this is so dumb and pointless. But it is kind of funny. So it's doing a little more for me now, because I mean, like,
kind of funny? kind of funny.
I don't think it's particular. Like, it's not super funny by any means.
I think the movie is and tries to be funny pretty much the whole time.
See, I just don't think it's very successful at that. I'm not saying it's not trying to be. I just don't think it's very successful.
Yeah,
I think it does actually do one pretty decent scare well, though.
Okay.
The first time they have the vampire like bat or the vampire fucking dude, the
clown ghoulie.
The clown ghoulie, yeah. Oh, yeah. That actually worked really well for me. To like, they see him there, and then they go into the closet and open up, and it's there, and then it's
that was pretty good, yeah.
Like that's every movie.
It works. It works because he looks like a decoration. So
exactly.
You assume it's just a second one until they like pan back over,
and it's not there, and you're like, oh, that's there's artistry here. I like that. But I don't know. It's just this movie's kind of dumb, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing by any means.
Yes, of course it's a dumb movie. Of course it's a dumb movie.
Yeah,
this movie. It's called Ghoulies, not the Ghoulies. It's called Ghoulies. It's a movie. And the thing about there's
a
no
toilet
ghoulies
on the cover of the DVD.
yeah. The cover of the movie is the fish boy ghoulie is Toad Boy Ghoulie wearing little baby boy suspenders in the toilet.
Yeah.
Of course this movie is dumb. And that's why it's beautiful. This movie is a work of art. It really is. I love this movie so much. Like,
do you think that the general perception of Ghoulies may have been different if the movie wasn't held up behind the scenes and came out ahead of Gremlins like it was gonna?
Yes. Yes. I think Gremlins obviously is the better movie, right?
Well, yeah, I mean there's no
Right, but I don't think people would say that this is a Gremlins ripoff. Because it wasn't. It's very clearly a very different movie. If it wanted to be a Gremlins ripoff, it would have made the fish ghoulie or the cat ghoulie. Or they would have made a cute good guy ghoulie, right?
Yeah. Well, they're all good guys for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they're actually never good guys because Jonathan's the bad guy for most of this movie.
Well, yeah, but he's the protagonist.
But he's got great power. So.
Yeah, he's got a green. Do you like how his green eye contacts? One of them just does not work, and just like
that was very funny. I couldn't figure out if like he was wearing green contacts of some kind, or if it was just like rotoscoping that they were constantly like just messing up a little bit.
I think they was like green contacts that like they don't light up, like they're like glow in the dark green contacts. I think it's because it was only when he was in the darkness is when they were lighting up like that. So. Like bad lighting, so
very very fun.
I love the eyes. Bad green contacts. They were so funny to me.
Amazing.
See that to me almost felt more intentional. Like the offset eye thing. I was like, I feel because it was stupid enough where I'm like, there has to be. You have to know. Like you're a director. You're looking at the shot and you're seeing this. Like you have to make that choice. I think to be like, yeah. That's what I want that to look like. Yeah, or they're just like, fuck it, whatever. No one's going to notice this shit. They're just going to be so freaking freaked out by those green eyes. I guess. I don't know.
and the answer is probably not, actually. But
no, fast forward 30
unfortunately,
40 years now? Jesus. Down the road, right?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
40 years down the road.
You hedged your bets and you were wrong. Whoops.
You thought we wouldn't catch you, but we did.
Unfortunately, you were incorrect, sir. But no, like, yeah, this movie honestly kind of has a really cool concept to it. And then just falls apart. It does. No, again, the idea of like the corruption of somebody like falling in, like it's a like we're having all of these movies about addiction, right? and like the addiction of black magic and all that cool stuff, and like falling into like this like satanic ritual and shit like that. That's really cool. Like, and there's some really creepy, conceptual moments here, right? Like the sex magic ritual, right? Where the creepy ghoulies are underneath him while he's banging Rebecca, and they're like doing like weird sex magic. Creepy idea, right? The tongue thing, right? Well, terribly done. Kind of a creepy idea, right? There's
that scene worked for me. Yeah,
yeah,
like that scene worked for me as like a scary, like horrifying scene. Like because I think because it wasn't done well, like this whole movie doesn't exactly have like the best budget for special. I mean, they put it all into the puppets. Cool, I get it.
Easily.
So they couldn't. They just kind of had to work with what they had, and like they did a good job with it.
Yeah. But then they add like things like Grizzle and Greedy Gut. It's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, they felt a little mean-spirited almost.
Almost.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I thought that they were in there at just the right time.
But they could have just been other ghoulies.
Yeah, but the ghoulies hadn't been shown to be like that level of like sentience, you know? Like I think they needed to have like some other thing. And I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.
Could he?
I was fine with it, I guess, is what I would say.
I mean, did I love it? Did I love every second of this movie? Of course I did. But they didn't add much in the ways of both the haha funny bits or the creepy bits. They just were kind of like, okay. That like it didn't detract it from me, obviously.
Yeah.
I was still like, this is amazing. I love every second of this movie. Right? But it didn't I forget that they're in the movie every time I watch it. And I watch this movie with somewhat regularity.
Is this usual in your Halloween rotation?
Not unusual in my Halloween rotation, but I've seen it upwards of like 20 times.
It's a lot of times.
Again, it was one of the 2 DVDs that we had in the back of our car. So
this makes sense. I had the same thing happen with VHS.
What was the other one?
Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
What was the other one? I want to say it was
Spider-Man 2.
It might have been a Spider-Man. No, it wasn't a Spider-Man.
What a combo that would be. Spider-Man and the Ghoulies.
I mean, pretty similar camp, you know? Like campy levels.
I don't remember.
Close.
I just remember watching Ghoulies a lot.
He doesn't remember because he always watched the Ghoulies. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what the other movie was. He just watched Ghoulies.
Oh well, it could have also been The Fifth Element because literally everyone had The Fifth Element if you had a DVD player. So like that is a strong.
Yeah, that is true.
Too.
No, but it was another cheesy movie, and it was one that wasn't as good. No, it was Anchorman. That's what it was. It was Anchorman. Yep. Ghoulies and Anchorman.
So you like Ghoulies more than Anchorman, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
No, they have both impacted my life in about equal measure.
Yeah, but where does Anchorman land on the Ghoulies scale?
That's correct. Yeah.
Higher or lower is what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably like Anchorman more, if I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah. We probably watched Anchorman more. Yeah. Yeah.
Took you a long time to remember that it was Anchorman, though.
I know, because Anchorman's a really good... Anchorman's an actual good movie, and Ghoulies is Ghoulies. What do you want?
And Ghoulies as well.
I was trying to think of, like, what other shit movie did I watch all the time as a kid? And I was like, nope, it was just Ghoulies. The other one was pretty good.
It was very funny in the end.
But...
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think, I've been singing this movie's praises, and Alan's been mostly doing the I hate this movie, but it's pretty funny. So I think we should do the classic game that we've been playing lately on Essential Scares of what did you like / what did you not like?
Okay.
So we'll start with Alan. What did you like for its own merit?
For its own merit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I already said... I'll not say the sorcerer guy, because I already espoused my love for that man.
That also does not feel like it's on its own merit thing.
Oh, no, it absolutely is. I unironically enjoyed every moment of that man on the screen. It's so funny to me. And this is where it gets hard because that is really the linchpin. For me, I think then taking that out of the picture, I would probably say the moments of bad acting are so good in their own right. Like, no, Jonathan! And then she falls dramatically down the stairs. Like, there's just the bits of bad acting I enjoyed thoroughly because I didn't expect good acting of any caliber in this film because I don't think you should going into it. But the bad acting is like the best kind of bad acting. Like it's the best that the bad acting can be, and I think that's probably one of the stand-up bits. Because like you've got the other characters like Toad Boy and the Elton John lookalike that are just awful and just laugh and are falling all over each other. Yeah, Mike and Mark, I think, are their actual names. They're just big bumbling idiots the whole time, but they work. Dick, short for Dick, is terrible, but I love it. Like, and then like I don't know, it's just the bad.
Doesn't sound like you hate. All I'm
saying
saying is, it doesn't sound like you hate this movie.
Oh no, it's terrible.
It's a little tough here, yeah, because it seems like you like a lot of it.
Oh, my score has come up since starting this podcast. I'll already put that out there.
Here, listen. Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. Ha ha ha! I tricked you. I was looking for you to say nice things, and now me and Corbin don't have to say any bad things whatsoever.
No, you have to say all the bad things.
What?
What did you hate?
Oh, I did. There's nothing about this movie I hate.
God damn it!
I love that you never know what time of day or night it is in this movie ever.
It's Ghoulie time.
Yeah, like there's a time where they're eating
the ghoul hour.
They're eating salad, wine, and like garlic bread, and then she's like, "I'm going to go to school now," and then it goes out and it's like early day, and it's like, were they eating salad for breakfast? What the fuck?
Remember when she goes down to make dinner for herself, and the first thing she does is scramble eggs?
Yeah.
She doesn't even finish scrambling them. She like barely tries, throws the fork.
My wife, producer Mallory, is like, "What the fuck? Are she? Why? Who has eggs for dinner?"
Nobody.
I love that I got to watch this movie with my wife this time because it's so unscary of a horror film.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So speaking of though, who was your favorite side character?
Dick for sure.
Dick.
He's just every single time he's on the screen, he's funny. That guy hits every time, and he's overacting in exactly the right way to me.
His overacting with the sorcerer guy disguised as a woman is, I mean, like it's like Oscar worthy bad acting. Like it's so bad, but so good.
He nails it. It's him for me for sure.
I love Mike and Eddie as a duo, right? Because they're so clearly in love.
Oh, absolutely.
They're so clearly in love. It's like two couples, and then Mike and Eddie are two stag friends. Like,
just hanging out together, smoking together, sitting around.
Yeah.
Don't bogart that joint, man.
Yeah, they get so close to kissing the entire time, but like it's just like, oh, I love them.
They are really close to each other always. Like every shot of the two of them together is like almost a close up, right? Like, and when there's no wide shots.
When Mike's like super like fucked up and does the breakdance and almost dies, Eddie looks like he's gonna have a heart attack. Like he's like, my lover is just died. Like the love of my life has just died. It's a beautiful moment. It's like this. Yeah, I love them both as a couple. Eddie in his death attire, that shirt that he's wearing is a very cool shirt. I always I wish I could find that shirt. I like that like staff shirt. Yeah, the fact that Mike always wears sunglasses no matter what is very funny. The fact that he's the only character to actually just not die in this movie.
Hold on. Yeah. Speaking of Mike's sunglasses. After the dinner scene and the toast, when he takes off his sunglasses to reveal he's still wearing those sunglasses.
Awesome. He's wearing 2 pairs of sunglasses.
So good.
Amazing.
Dick's sunglasses were the best, though. He had windshield wipers on his
I know.
glasses.
He's got
Exactly.
he's got a fucking battery pack for them. It's very funny.
Ugh.
Oh, I love this movie.
I'm liking it more the more we talk about it.
I know, as you should.
So, I mean, how much do you like it?
On a scale of 0 to 5 with half points allowed, how
Probably.
much do I like Ghoulies?
Yeah. If you were to say put a number on it,
Okay.
you know, between those numbers.
Okay. Can I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Could I do like a 4-6? Is that a thing?
No,
Is that
so
allowed?
you can. Nah, yeah, it's only whole numbers and half numbers. That's it. Yeah, and 0.
Well, in that world, I'm gonna have to give Ghoulies a 1.5 out of 5. It's bumped up a full point for me into the territory of, I guess this is funny, but a very bad movie. It's one of those things where I want to believe that most of it is intentional. Like, I want to believe that to my core. But I really don't know that it is. Like, I don't know that they necessarily, like, plan for all of these incredibly dumb events to come together into this amalgamation of a film that we watched. But they did manage to do that, and it was very silly. So if you need a silly time, I think Ghoulies is it's about as silly as it gets. So 1.5 out of 5.
Okay. I'm gonna go next
Okay.
because I really feel like Bobby deserves to go last on this one for all the
I
same
agree
reasons
completely.
as usual. So I quite enjoyed my time with Ghoulies in the sense that, like, it was funny, I laughed, I cried, just had a good time. But I don't think that Ghoulies is good, right? I think that it has some good effects. I love the Ghoulies themselves. The Ghoulie puppetry is really, really great. It kind of makes me wonder what the Stan Winston version of all the Ghoulies would have been if they had made the movie a couple years earlier when it was going to happen. But the Ghoulie designs are awesome, right? Great puppetry. Clearly lowish budget because they don't have a lot of like animation, but they look good sitting there. But the story is like so nonsensical. And I think sometimes it's on purpose, but other times it's like, it's never hard to follow, but it never quite makes sense, like what exactly is going on or why. Things just happen. And so I enjoyed it, and I wouldn't tell people not to watch it, but I don't think it quite is at the level of like a Silent Night, Deadly Night, or like a Blood Diner for me. Like, I don't think it has quite hit that level. And so, honestly, for me, I also had it at a 1.5. I think it is fun, but I think it's below average, even of this, like, intentionally campy. I don't think it's quite there.
I'll go last, obviously.
Of course.
And I'll full out and say that while fair criticisms around, you're all wrong. First of all, Corbin, you're wrong to say that this is less than a Silent Night, Deadly Night, or a Blood Diner. It slots right in, baby. Right there with everything else. Oh, I agree. Oh, nope, wrong, incorrect. Just as funny, just as weird, just as bad, just as good. Oh, absolutely. Listen, I'll fight you.
No
I'll fight
way.
you both. I'll fight you both in armed combat for this.
We gave Blood Diner 3.5, all of us.
Yeah.
I stand so far behind that.
No,
I could never get Ghoulies that high.
I'm not giving it that high of a score. It's getting a Bobby 1.5, the greatest score a human being can get.
Uniformity, right? I love it.
Right. But it's just as fun to watch. Right? It is just as fun. I have so much fun watching this movie. So much fun.
I had fun with it. I'd rather watch Blood Diner again, though.
Absolutely.
I would rather watch Blood Diner right now in my life because it's been a minute, right? But watch Blood Diner and then step away from both of them for a minute. You'll be like, yeah, I'd rather watch Ghoulies, right? Coming up to the next two. Because you're like, I haven't watched Ghoulies in a minute.
I don't know. This wasn't my first time watching Ghoulies. Like, I've seen Ghoulies before.
I know, and you enjoyed it, huh?
Well, yeah, but I wasn't like yearning for Ghoulies, right? There was never a point in the last several years where it was like, man, you know what? It has been a while since I watched Ghoulies.
Look,
it's just every time Bobby brings it up, which is a lot for the record, right? He picked this franchise.
This does happen.
Bobby picked Ghoulies for us all to watch, all 4 of them. And
happy about it. I'm very happy about it.
He's made it quite clear on this episode that he's a super fan. And just to back all this up, I've known Bobby for a very long time, and he brings up Ghoulies all the time. So
I love Ghoulies. I love this movie. I love it. Here, fun fact. I've only ever seen this one. I have no idea how good the sequels are.
Well, I'm very excited.
I am not a fan of the franchise. I'm a fan of this movie specifically.
Well, this made me much more excited for the next 3 weeks.
I know I'm gonna love them. How can I not?
I don't disagree, but now it'll be new for everybody.
Yeah, but yeah, 1.5 out of 5, but Bobby 1.5 out of 5. Right? It's one of those movies that everything about this movie is not quality, but despite that, it's very fun to watch. It is just for both. Again, it is one of those movies that is both so bad it's good, and also has moments of just this is just the greatest thing I've ever seen. Forget so bad it's good. Forget just good on its own merits. This is just awesome, and that's why this movie gets a 1.5 Bobbies. I mean, out of 1.5 Bobbies.
When Jonathan teleports the whole group of them by screaming and putting his arms into the air, that is quite funny on its own merit.
To my friends, forgive me.
It's just so ridiculous.
Every time Malcolm, the wizard, walks into the room, he crosses his arms and splays his fingers out. It's amazing. He hisses like a cat all the time. It's amazing.
So we all know that Bobby loves this movie. It's one of his favorite movies, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But telling people how much we love a movie isn't the only thing we do here. We also talk about whether or not a movie is essential to horror as a whole, right? Now, if you skipped ahead to this part, this is spoiler free. And we've all given it a 1.5 out of 5. Pretty low score. Bobby's score comes with a caveat of, say, Bobby 1.5, which is kind of like a 5 out of 5 in a multiverse. So
it's a 5 out of 5 for bad movies.
Right. It's the same score that he gave to Silent Night, Deadly Night. It was a 1.5, whereas Alan and I just gave a regular good score.
So good. So good.
So I want to start at the highest high at this point here. And Bobby, I want you to talk to us about whether or not Ghoulies is essential to horror.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I could talk about how this movie spawns a franchise, a 4-movie franchise. Not many horror movies get to do that, right? I could talk about, how this movie has iconic scenes, right? We can talk about, the iconic scene on the cover, right? The frog ghoulie hopping out of the toilet. Iconic. Masters of terror right there. I could talk about, the various wonderful special effects that we're seeing, and all of the amazing wet puppetry that we saw in Ghoulies. But I would be lying to you that my decision of whether or not this movie is essential actually comes down to one thing. Does this movie have any top billing cast? And something that we forgot to mention during the spoiler part of this cast is this is actually the debut role of Mariska Hargitay, better known for her role on Law and Order Special Victims Unit, right? A household name if I ever heard one. So, does Mariska Hargitay's role as Donna in Ghoulies make Ghoulies an essential movie? I think at this point, my explanation speaks for itself, but I'll just go out and say that no, Ghoulies is not an essential movie.
I mean, you really had me in the
preamble.
I was like, I guess. I'm sitting here prepping my response.
I see all of you just getting more and more like you're really gonna give it to like because the girl from SVU's in it. You're gonna give it a yes.
Oh boy,
yeah. That was going to be my original spoiler warning, but I'm like, no, it needs to stay for the essential.
This was great. Okay, well, I'll go. You know, I don't have a lot to say. I think that this movie has a very interesting story. I think that if this movie had, if we were in a different world where Stan Winston made this movie in 1983 and it comes out 1 to 2 years ahead of Gremlins and they have a different script, and I think that there's a huge chance that Ghoulies could be more than a cult classic. I think that Ghoulies could be an actual classic, right? A movie well remembered by many. And instead, I think that Ghoulies is a movie that people mostly remember for the fish boy ghoulie in the toilet. I think that most people could probably, like, if you showed them that image and were like, have you ever seen this image before? They'd be like, oh, yeah, I've seen that poster. But maybe they don't know anything else about Ghoulies.
They couldn't even, I don't think they could even tell you what the movie was.
No, if you showed it to them without the text on it, it's just like, do you know what movie this is? It's like, nah, but I've seen that monster before.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that that's very interesting. And I think that, you know, it's an iconic image. And I think that there are stories about this movie that are iconic and well remembered. But in the greater scheme of horror, and even in the scheme of like Gremlin likes, like that whole subgenre of small monster like horror, this one just doesn't like rate up there for me as essential. I think there's more essential ones than just Gremlins, with spoilers for when we do Gremlins. But this one just doesn't get there. So for me, it's going to be a no as well. But I think there might Critters. Be, yeah, Critters for yeah. I didn't want to say it, but of course it's Critters. I think there's a chance that one of the other ones might be. I've heard that the second one is much better, and I'm very interested in that. But I've never seen any of the sequels, so, you know, we'll see.
Sorry, I just got an email from eBay that I won some Scarab Occult Terminator legs that I threw a bid on here in the middle of the podcast.
Just the legs. In the middle of our essential discussion, Alan. Wow.
Sorry,
dude.
I was more blown away because I thought there was way more time on the auction.
So Alan by default, because he decided to check his work, his personal email while in the middle of a podcast is going to by default decide that Ghoulies is in fact essential. Because during the
default answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's going in the stats. Doesn't matter what he says after this point. It's going in the stats. Put it in there right now.
He really only said good things.
I want you to know that I did want to say this was essential. I did want to, because I think that this movie is very silly, and I think that there is a gem here somewhere in there. I think it's kind of like you said earlier, Bobby. This movie definitely changed while it was being made. And I think that there is some point along the path that was from the start of like production, filming, all that stuff, to the end product. There was an essential movie there. And it got lost in the shuffle of things. So no, Ghoulies is not essential by any stretch. But I think it could have been.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, watching small creature horror isn't the only thing we do here. We also talk about the other things we do here and where you can find us. Now, we're going to go ahead and start with Alan because he already started. Alan, why don't you tell us about these legs that you have won and where we can find you?
You can find me at a seal punter just about anywhere. So the reason I even put a bid out on these legs is, Corbin, you know this as having someone who has built Scarab Occult Terminators. When you finish a box of them, you can make a full Terminator, except the legs.
I just magnetized the legs.
Okay, I guess that's a good idea. I haven't magnetized anything, and I haven't done that. But so I was like, I'll just get some legs for cheap on eBay, and I found some cheap legs. And I was in the middle of my workout, and I was like, I'll throw $13 at these, and it's 5 legs.
For how many?
5 legs.
Is it
It's not bad.
Is it on the sprue or are they recast?
No, they're not on sprue. They're just chopped off. But, you know, I got like 3 more Terminators out of it. So I'm happy with that.
Nice.
But yeah, the Warhammering, lots of that. Going to be painting after we get done with this here show here. And I'll put a picture up on Twitter. Come say how good it looks. Give me the satisfaction of being an okay painter.
No.
A seal paint. That's where you can find that picture.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Corbangarang, where I talk about movies, horror, Destiny, and Halo. Or you can find me on Twitter and Mastodon at Bolters and Bourbon, where I talk about Warhammer and wargaming in general. What have I been up to? Well, I have made a hobby resolution this year not to play any tabletop games with unpainted minis. So I have really, really been hustling because I play a lot. And I have to basically either run and make sure that I have guys painted, or I'm just going to be missing games that I would be playing anyway. So I'll also be painting tonight. I'm painting my kill team, so I can play kill team on Wednesday, which day of recording is 2 days from now. And
look, you painted all that Night Haunt so fast. You got this. You got like 3 dudes to paint.
It's six guys, and they're already half painted. So yeah, it's a piece of cake, but it has to happen. It's my Alpha Legion kill team.
Oh, they look so good.
So I'm very excited to finish them, or at least get them battle ready. Besides that, I have been playing Gundam Evolution, which I mentioned last week as well. I am in love with that game. And then Destiny, Destiny. And besides all that, I mean, I am going on vacation next month, going to Disney World with the fam. So it's a lot of Disney planning and discussion. Like, you know, when anybody that's been to Disney, you know, your life ends up revolving around that trip for a couple of weeks. So you can like get everything going. So we're officially there in that stage.
Hey, are you at the point where you've done like reservations and stuff yet?
Oh, yeah, I've reserved everything. So
nice.
Got my lightsaber res, you know, got all our dinners.
Oh, yeah.
So
you got one?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Very excited.
I need to build
Very
one. Next
cool.
time I go, I'm doing it.
Friends
if I
trip,
ever go to Disney,
2025.
highly unlikely.
I'm already consider this your invite. Okay. Anyway, Bobby, what are you up to?
You can find me at twitch.tv/theredweenie. Apparently I'm not invited to Disney. That's okay. Thank you. But what have I been up to? Not much. Everything that you've seen that isn't me doing private stuff like Warhammer stuff, which I'm bad at social media. So I doing, you know, the same thing that everybody else is doing, and I stream once a week, and so last night was that night for me, day of recording. So I did a little bit of Destiny with the boys, and then I played a little bit of that Gundam Evolution game that Corbin was talking about. It's okay. I liked it. I wasn't as psyched on it as Corbin was, but I didn't hate it. So, you know, take that as 2 opinions about that game. Yeah, twitch.tv/theredweenie. Peace.
There you go. You can also find the podcast anywhere, and by anywhere we really mean Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Essential Scares. We talk about horror there, and we also have links to our Discord and our other socials in the bio to all of our social platforms. And if you join our Discord, you can talk to us, where we talk about movies, music, games, more, whatever you're feeling. We're on Discord every single day. And you can also make suggestions for future movies or franchises or even games when we get back around to that you would like us to cover. So join the Discord if you haven't already. Toss in your suggestion. And, you know, hey, the pile of undone suggestions is pretty low. So if you were to pick something, there's like a really, really high chance that we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll probably just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So consider that your incentive. But thank you to everybody for listening and watching this week. We really appreciate all of the support. If you liked the show, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe, like it, review it, whatever works on your platform of choice. It all works, and it all makes us feel really bubbly inside, which is really, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Thank you to Alan and Bobby for being on the show. This has been Ghoulies, and next week, we're watching Ghoulies 2, guys. I've been your host, Corbin, and this has been Essential Scares.
Play that breakdown, baby!